Hello, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been quite some time since I posted here last. It's actually been, I think, several months, but who's really counting, right? I'm just happy to be making a reappearance. Let me reintroduce myself. I'm Sarah Lee here at House & Co, where I share a range of home DIYs, decor, and home improvement of projects that we're trying to tackle here in our Phoenix home. Now that summer and spring is upon us, I am dreading Phoenix weather in general. It's just way too hot here in the summer. I will be a hermit. I will not go outside. Like once after June ends, I'm not planning to go outside. You won't see me outside, hopefully, until like maybe end of September, but that's wishful thinking, right? So here we're actually planning to next work on an outdoor project, which you might find a little bit boring, but I think will be very helpful in case you have a pool deck like we do. After years of trying to temporarily update our pool deck with a fresh coat of paint and failing, we're finally going to do something more permanent. For this project, we're planning to hire out someone with more experience and seasoned in tile work to lay down Travertine on our existing pool deck without any demo. The question we are all asking ourselves, is it even possible? Can it even look good? Well, we're going to find out. After my dad so graciously let us take the excess Travertine from what he had on hand, we were still short a little over 1,000 pieces. The layout of the Travertine once laid down is called a French pattern, which has 3 sizes, the ones you see here. So we are on our way to the tile stone yard. My dad bought the Travertine about a decade ago from the same place, and we're hoping that they still have it. The color is such a classic color, and Travertine really doesn't go out of style, so I feel like you would come across the same colors over time. So let's hope we can even find it, because right now we only have about 200 tiles and we need 1,000 more. So let's hope, right? After roaming the grounds, we found the exact Travertine color called Cutie Eye Light. The selection here is truly amazing. The only nuisance about this place, it's not open to the public to make sales orders and can only be made through contractors, so we learned. Something else that we came across that we didn't even consider was hiding away our skimmers with this kit. It would make for a flawless implementation instead of keeping our sun-faded skimmer covers. The next morning, all the materials came in bright and early, and so did the contractor and his team. Before anything, the team first started sanding the pool deck to try to get as much of the paint and cool deck off and give it more of a grip for the Travertine to adhere to. At the time, we decided to keep the pool full, thinking that we were going to easily clean it up afterwards, but now knowing how bad all the working debris got into the pool, I would have just emptied it out beforehand. If you're unfamiliar with cool deck, the texture you're seeing on our deck, it's pretty common here in Phoenix at least. It helps to reduce heat and provides a non-slip surface, but I've personally never liked it. After sanding, the team started working in areas, laying down the pattern, measuring, and making the cuts for the first day. This morning off our checklist, we are planning to cross off the pergola. Initially, we had planned to take it down a couple weeks ago before the team even got started here, but we just didn't get to it because things started moving really quickly, a lot faster than I had anticipated. But in the near future, we are planning to make over this space, but we just don't know exactly when. So currently with this space, most of the columns and everything is mostly wood except the front, which is kind of like a cylinder block. But there is quite a bit of wood raw, and it's starting to slant a little bit this way because I have a pretty big rose bush that is putting some weight onto the pergola. So we're thinking of beefing it up, especially the columns in the back. We just don't know when, but they have to allocate the space so the Travertine can sit around it. So we are thinking about getting to it this morning and maybe asking them for some help because some of the pieces are a little bit larger. While we were taking down the pergola, the other part of the team was continuing to lay down the pattern, cut the tiles, and finally mixing the mortar to set them. Note that in most instances, Travertine any stone tiles are usually placed when no concrete decking is present and laid down on level ground, but in cases like ours when we already have an existing deck, we need something for the tiles to adhere to so they don't move around, and that's why the mortar is added. Towards the end of the day, we had the side of the house set and they made the way near the surrounding pool edges. Honestly, I was really impressed how fast everything was moving, and the skills of the team really made a difference. We are on day 3.5 of working on our pool deck. As you know, we've had existing concrete with an existing pool, and the question that we had was, is Travertine going to work on the existing concrete slab that we basically have? And so far I can tell you that it's looking better than good. After so much research that I had done, like I was even still kind of skeptical if it was going to look good, but let me tell you that it is looking out better than I had even thought possible. So I'm going to show you guys what that progress looks like now. After days of setting the Travertine pattern, here's how it looks. The it got about halfway around the pool. Separate from the 3 sizes used in the fringe pattern previously mentioned, we additionally bought 12 by 12 Travertine bullnose, which is used as pool coping for border edges. It will sit about an inch or 2 further out from the concrete edge. The bullnose coping was overlaid on top of the pattern before setting, so it could be traced for those precise cuts to be worked in. The amount of cuts needed was intense. I'm pretty sure this is when geometry kicks in and we should have all been listening a little bit better in class. Watching their traces, cuts was definitely an aha moment, especially with such a curvy pool like ours. Now let's finally talk about the pool edging tile under the coping. As you probably saw, the existing pool coping was around 4 to 5 inches in height, and while some would think to leave it like that, I was like, no way. I thought to match the existing pool inner edge with the same Travertine color and style in just a thinner towel form. Because our pool is quite curvy, we couldn't get a full 12-inch wide towel across in every corner, so we had to make them less wide in some areas. If that's the case, the best recommendation is to cut them all the smallest size that is needed for it to wrap around your pool so it can look consistent and even. If you want to get the most bang for your buck, buy 12 by 12 tiles and trim them to size as you need them for your pool requirements on the edging. The labor itself did cost a bit more, but it was worth it to get the uniformity throughout. And definitely empty out the pool, even if they don't ask. Going back and seeing how they were struggling to keep the towels up to set, it could have been easier if they could have been inside the pool while doing this. And if you had to be knocked out since they were a little bit crooked in some areas, well, lesson learned. The next day, the team was finishing up all the final details, grouting the joints, adding the remaining tiles on the side of the house, and placing the skimmer covers. The skimmer kit comes with the essentials, but you'll need a few other tools and of course a towel of your choice. I didn't get much footage on this part since the company already has a great tutorial online for installation. Doesn't it look 10 times better? It's perfectly hidden and still functional. The last final step is sealing the joints with Polymetric sand, which is a type of paver grout. We ended up redoing this step ourselves after there was some confusion how to add it. You first must clean the flooring, removing all debris with a good wash. Before you add the sand, the deck must be completely dry so that the sand can fall through the joint depths. Otherwise, if wet, even damp, it will clump and you won't get the sand to fall through properly. Well, that's where the mistake was made initially. If you make the same mistake, you can blow out the sand with the blower and sweep out the excess. To fill the entire deck, we only needed 1 bag, so it's great that it goes a long way and it's not too expensive. Once you pour the sand on your dry deck, sweep the sand in completely and remove any excess by brushing it off the deck. Next, mist the area to set the sand type grout in place following the bag instructions. The sand is then water activated and expands and seals the joints. In about 24 hours, it's fully set. Honestly, the easiest way, best way to grout versus the traditional way. Soon after, we drained the pool and took advantage that it was empty to replace the pool light and add a sealant to the inside pool Travertine tiles. While we didn't add a sealer to the top surface of the pool deck, and maybe we should have, we knew that the inside tiles would be more likely to erode and stain over time, and to prevent that, we added 2 coats of sealant. You can apply the mix with a brush and wipe off the excess within a few minutes, and it cures within a day or 2. We've been spending the last week cleaning up the surface and emptying out the pool. Everything is looking pretty good. We've pretty much wrapped up everything, so I'm excited to show you guys how it all turned out.